what is billions in a beginning point where you had totally nothing. So for us, as people said, the beginning and the independence of Turkana County began in 2013. It is real. It's very practical. And even right now, we still need more. Because for a very long time since independence, they had never gotten attention from anybody, maybe because of the distance. Sometimes the closer you are to the network at the center, the better you are. When you are far away in terms of even being far in infrastructure. So I think Turkana case may be different. But on the side of solution to food reliefs and their safety in terms of the disasters we receive, as I said, just like I've spoken on the youth, I think we need to do a deliberate attempt or a move or a framework through which we will make sure now all the partners in the Republic of Kenya that act or respond on emergencies put their resources together plus the ministry is concerned and come up with one concrete thing that would be a permanent solution to these things. And again, being a reactive ministry, a reactive network, that would mean we are only waiting till the bad moment comes. That means we ignore the reports that are supposed to be giving a warning. There are institutions that give warning to what's likely to happen. But we wait too long till this thing happens, we lose lives, we lose livestock. Then when we come, that's the time we come to appear like we are pushing to do something possible. I think even us, as the victims of these disasters, need to push the partners that are within us. I know most ASAL areas have the biggest number of NGOs. I think this time we put a framework that will make them now think permanently in a solution-based way.
Vicaria, have you? Vicaria, we'll have one more of a member who came in late.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Vicaria David. I come from Nakuru Town East constituency. Honorable Chair, I think the things I wanted to ask has been asked, but I think it is important for us to put emphasis to the nominee that had an opportunity of going for a climate change conference in Arusha the other day. Honorable Speaker, when I reached Namanga, if you see the queue of vehicles from Kenya vis-a-vis the other side that are coming in, then you realize there is a problem. And I think it is important for the nominee to take charge and cognizant of that fact, that we can't have a smaller queue on the other side coming this side, and then a longer queue going on the other side. And this goes again to what Majority Leader has been saying. Maybe we need more information to the people in the transport industry and what we actually need for us to fast track our clearance at the border point. It is very unfortunate, Honourable Speaker, even when you go the other side, we were stopped. I think they just see a registration of a Kenya number. You are stopped at every police place where they are on the road, asking for fire extinguishers. And these things are the things that are need to be taught to these people, because the people are going into the transport sector every now and then. Maybe the nominee needs to, fasten that and be able to understand and assist our trading, our partners who are doing trade in the respective. Secondly, Honourable Speaker, we have been with you in a few of the interparliamentary games where we talk of the tightening, widening and strengthening our partnership. But it's only about sports and we go. And nothing much between interaction between the East African community on some very important issues that affect us. Of course, maybe it could be, it is important also maybe to have some session where members of parliament can sit together and exchange ideas on how to do trade, on how, and we had one of, in the football section, Honorable Chair, is where we were talking about what the president, actually that is what is happening. The president has been insisting on this technical subject trainees graduation and the effect that it is having in Uganda. And I think that is what we need to push more as a community for us to be able to, and including, Honorable Chair, the Gen Zs has reminded us to remember our national anthem. If we can be able to say our national anthem, all the three stanzas. And when I went to look at that, it speaks volume. The anthem for East African community anthem, again, is
I asked a question or making a speech?
I'm just a comment. Thank you, Mr.
Yes, Mary.
It's a slight addition. Honorable nominee, I think the issue of queuing of vehicles along our border is a very serious one. If you go to Busia border, or Malaba, and sometimes there's a queue all the way to Bungoma. And it is
Not
causing
to
a lot
Bungoma, to Turbo.
to Turbo, even to
65
Turbo.
kilometers of
And it has caused a lot of
Yes.
disaster. We've lost lives through road accidents, and it is really bad. I think that is one area, Honorable Nominee, that you may have to look into and find out what is causing, that is if you are approved, what is causing it and what could be the permanent solutions so that we do not have vehicles queuing along the borders and causing a lot of other problems. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, it's true what Honorable Mary Emase is saying. Big problem that keep vehicles queuing kilometers and kilometers in both Malaba and Busia. But I saw the other day somewhere that Busia County had put up a very big, they're building a very big yard near the border there to park the vehicles. But anyway, I agree with her, there's a problem.
But Nominee, if you get there, building a huge parking for trucks is not a solution.
So,
We are talking of movement of goods and services to improve trade. Now, if you go and park your truck at the border for 3 days, is that a solution? It isn't. Because every time that truck stays there for 2 days, 3 days, is a loss to the economy. So go ahead and answer that. What Gikari has asked you before.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think
Mr. Speaker, there is also this project that was done in the borders of one border stop, where one stop border solution posts, where both countries are supposed to have people in one place so that fastens the movement of goods and people. I don't know why it's not
You
functioning.
have two, Namanga and Malaba.
Okay.
Yes.
No, even Hispania in Migori.
Yes.
The Speaker is one.
And Moyale, I think, and Lunga Lunga. Go on.
through Mr. Speaker, I feel I've also been part of this challenge myself some time back, where a truck can take a whole week to be cleared. But now, at least now that it is becoming to our realization as an assembly, I think we need to, all of us to put our brains together and put all the ministries concerned into need to fast track the process of moving goods and services within this border, within the shortest time possible. So that again, we talk of infrastructure development that would fast track, and then the technology that would fast track these processes, and then we talk of the human resource that would use these facilities to fast track the movement of goods and services. For me, it is a team that needs the other partners in the infrastructure ministry, in the trade ministry, in finance ministry, to really come up and put our heads together and make sure something better comes out of it.
Thank you, Nominee. I'll ask, yes, George?
Thank you. Can I ask if, on behalf of the public?
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. This is a comment from a member of the public. That ESC docket is a very sensitive docket, and I'm not sure the nominee really gets it. If you approve the nominee, would she be prepared to learn a lot more about it? That is the question from a member of the public.
Through Mr. Speaker, actually where I'm coming from, as at now, or as of now, I have been, since the time of appointment, I was able to only have 4 days to prepare myself, grasp all about the ministry as an external person. As soon as I'm going to be approved by this committee, trust you me, that tell the whoever has written that, I have what it takes. I'm from a community that has faced so many issues and have always gotten a solution to them. So as soon as I'm on board, I'll do my best. I'm young enough in terms of the energy to implement, to move, to learn, to share the experience, to get advice where I need be, to engage the technical people, to get me done in this. So I trust you me, it is well. To assure that person he is in safe place, he's in safe hands.
Nominee, yes, Russell?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a quick one. Somebody is asking if the House nominates you, it confirms your nomination, you'll be handling East Africa and the ASAL. What their fear is, one is likely to suffer, because these are two dockets back to back. Will you just confirm to them that that will not happen? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Anybody would be listening to us would assume that because much of the questions here are on East Africa community. But in the situation where we had to balance 6, 5, I would have attended. And again, as somebody who is at the policy level, we have already structures at ASAL level that would implement ASAL issues. We have the one for East Africa community that would settle on that issue. So I will only be balancing a team that is already on board, a team that has an expertise. It is not me alone who will implement it. So it's because of the amount of questions here that somebody is saying the ASAL may suffer, and yet I even come from ASAL. It's even bad to make that assumption. Maybe the mode of questions is what has made somebody to believe maybe ASAL may suffer. To assure him or her, I am an ASAL person.
But remember, nominee,
yes,
that you have not been nominated because you are from an ASAL part of Kenya. You've been nominated because you are a Kenyan, and you must demonstrate suitability to handle this docket on behalf of the people of Kenya, not the ASALs. Okay?
True, Mr. Speaker, I was only answering because they said ASAL may suffer, so I was assuring the person that it's okay.
Now, there are some issues from the public before I come to one or two questions. One person asks, given the grades that you got at secondary school, how did you end up studying for a degree?
I answered it.
Yes, I'm just reading to you what the public is asking. Okay. The second one is, given the recent suspension of Uganda's milk products from entering the Kenyan market due to disputes over quality and standards, what legislative amendments or policies would you advocate to resolve such trade barriers and strengthen economic ties within the East Africa? Part of this falls within the trade docket, but you can answer. The second one, with the increased security concerns along the Kenya-Somalia border, particularly with the resurgence of Al-Shabaab activities, how do you leverage existing legislation like the National Security Council Act and propose new laws to enhance security collaboration among East African countries while ensuring free movement of people and goods? The next one, the disparities in economic development between Kenya and some EAC member states, such as Burundi and South Sudan, are significant. Would you propose any legislative measures to ensure equitable distribution of resources from shared regional projects such as those stipulated under the EAC protocol on the establishment of the East African Monetary Union, where there are many? Answer those first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I feel the issues that are raised here does not only apply to my ministry, if appointed, it also applies to other ministries. Like if you speak of milk, milk is under food production. It's also under livestock. It cuts across trade. It's also part of finance. So once we are on board, if appointed, or if approved by this committee, those are the issues that we will engage all our technocrats in agriculture, in finance, in any other relevant department to come up with a concrete policy and a framework that would guide. And the same applies to security that is there in Somalia. The Ministry of Defense will be involved. The Ministry of Internal Affairs will be involved. So all those stakeholders will be part of the solution to that. And the same affects the disparity of economic states, where we'll also have a Ministry of Finance, the technocrats in finance, economists in finance, and the economists will all come and put their brains together and come up with a concrete solution. And of course, a way forward through that consultative forum.
Two more. Somebody asks, with counties like Turkana, Marsabit, and Wajir facing severe drought, what legislative measures do you propose to institutionalize drought response mechanisms such as amendments to the National Drought Management Authority Act to ensure long-term food security in these regions? The other one that I can pick out, because some are repetitions, is resource-based conflicts over water and pasture, such as those witnessed in the Turkana and West Pokot border regions, have escalated due to drought. What would you consider, would you consider proposing legislation for community-based natural resource management and conflict resolution frameworks, possibly through amendments to the Land Act to formalize resource sharing agreements? Can you answer that? Somebody is asking about the stalled Kainuku Bridge in Turkana. I think that's not your docket. Go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On counties like Turkana and Marsabit, and amendment on response to drought, actually what is happening is, as I said earlier, we need a deliberate and team-based solution to these recurring issues, so that we put ways of a framework that would enhance food production, enhance water harvest, enhance alternative livelihoods, enhance value addition to this community, so that we reduce the effect of drought within the acts. And that one means all the ministries concerned, all the partners concerned, all the stakeholders concerned must put their brains together and come up with a long-lasting solution to what has been recurring. Now, on conflict of water and under pasture along Turkana and the other areas, the pastoral areas, actually true. If we borrow an initiative that we went one time when I was a CC for Turkana to the Uganda, and we found a very big dam called Kobebe that is supplying water all year round. I think it is time we adopt a solution that would run the citizens of this country with their livelihood all year round, in the sense that the dams are put, this water that is just running around, I mean the water that is flowing down would be captured somewhere where it can be utilized by pastoralists, it can be utilized for pasture, it can also be utilized for food production by the very communities that are vulnerable when this strikes. So I think for me, it needs back to stakeholders engagement, consultation of all the key actors in this field to make sure we put a long-lasting solution to what the communities are suffering from. And also in situation where we go cross-border, in terms like when the community moves from this area to the other area looking for pasture, we need as an institution of government to move ahead of our citizens and lobby for safety and lobby for these things, so that when they encroach those zones, they are not attacked or they are not rebelled, causing deaths. So.
Good. Let me ask you one question, nominee. Or two. Do you believe in East African integration?
As at now, I believe, because it's about the impression, in the sense that if...
What do you mean impression?
Sometimes people tend to judge a particular thing before they get into it. I think where there's a deliberate attempt, Mr. Speaker, to have it realized, we will all get this realized. Because the parties that are there are just within the neighborhood. We can't avoid the neighborhood. We will at any time engage the neighborhood. So for that matter, and for you to be peaceful, your neighbor must be peaceful. For you to grow economically, your neighbor must be growing. So, and because there is a cross-cutting issues, these crossing issues must be put together for a full realization of East Africa Community Federation.
If you find favor and become our minister or CS in charge of East Africa, we already have protocols for a customs union, for a free market, and a protocol for free movement of people, goods, and services. Take people. if you go to our courts today, every single day you'll find Ugandans being charged for being in Kenya illegally. You go to Uganda, Kenyans are in jail in Uganda for entering Uganda illegally. Tanzania, same thing, and all over. If you find favor and become our CS, what are you going to do to help achieve the implementation of the protocol on free movement of people, goods, and services, particularly people, so that you do not cross into a country where you have a protocol for free movement and you are bundled and thrown into jail for being in that country illegally?
Mr. Speaker, if I win the favor of this committee and be appointed as a CS for East Africa Community, the issue of custom union and free movement are within the 4 pillars of East Africa Community. So, and having it as a pillar must also embrace the spirit of the will within the member states to implement anything that has been agreed upon. So for effective implementation of this, effective realization of these pillars, then every member state must make a deliberate attempt within their own political governance to make sure these things are implemented to the best of these, of the people who are crossing, to the best of the business that's being carried across the border. So for me, I feel laws must be, a legal framework must be put on board. The infrastructure that's supposed to be facilitative must be put in place.
The legal framework is already there.
Then the deliberate intentions to implement from the partner states must also be negotiated, because it is one thing to pass, it is the other thing to get the political will of a country to implement what has been passed. So I think it is a matter of lobbying, matter of consulting, matter of arbitrating if possible, to make sure what has been passed is implemented to the letter.
A small 1 or 2 mundane questions to you. Have you ever been adversely mentioned in any integrity-related reports or investigations?
No, I haven't.
Do you hold any leadership position in any political party in Kenya?
As it is, no.
As it was?
Yeah, but I resigned.
Okay. Tell us your net worth.
It's 100 million.
100 million, which you said is family
It's for
wealth.
all of us.
It's for all of us, including me.
Yes, if you are
Okay. Okay, nominee. Your papers have been checked against what we have. They have been found in order. And the few memoranda that were there against you, actually, in fact, only one, and you responded, so we release you to go back to your duties.
Mr. Speaker, there is the bit of the well that I need to clarify a bit on livestock.
It is not an issue. We are okay.
Okay. So, Mr. Speaker, I would want to appreciate your guidance in moderating and protecting me. I would also want to appreciate the mutual conversation we've had with the committee. And if Almighty God that began with me will give you favor to see me through in this, I'm telling you, committee, you will be writing history in this Kenya. You will be appointing the first Turkana woman since independence. So please be part of the history.
As we look forward to the possibility of writing that history, I want to constantly encourage you. You are not going to be a minister because you are Turkana. You are going to be a minister because if we find favor, your competence and your ability to serve each and every Kenyan from Vanga to Kibish, from Lamu to Malaba, everywhere in this country. And now you'll go beyond. You must contribute towards the integration of East Africa. Some of us believe, dream, and live East African integration.
Thank you.
Thank you. The sergeant will show you the way out. Have a good day. Yes. Members, you have saved 10 minutes, and that is the time that you'll have for your short break as they rearrange the room, and you agreed to go and have something out there. So let's go and do that.